In this video, we are going to look at apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. First, we'll define apoptosis. We'll distinguish apoptosis from necrosis. We'll describe the two main functions of apoptosis, and we will compare and contrast cell death in plants and animals. So apoptosis is a set of coordinated events that basically dismantle a cell from inside out. That's why it's called programmed cell death. And as we learned in previous chapters, it's very important for cells to die at specific times in order to prevent the accumulation of errors or cancer cells. So first we have a death receptor on a doomed cell that binds a signal molecule. So a cell, because it's programmed, it will create a copy of a protein that is a signal molecule that signals to a receptor that it's time for that cell to die. Executioner proteins then will destroy proteins and other cell components, as we're seeing kind of here in picture 2. We're seeing that the cell is being broken down into cell fragments by various different digestive types of proteins. And then whatever little remnants are left, the immune system cell is going to engulf and destroy. So imagine like a white blood cell. It's going to be eating those pieces of cell fragments and break them down the rest of the way. In this bottom image, we're seeing where apoptosis occurred correctly and where apoptosis failed. So programmed cell death, remember, besides getting rid of cells that need to die for various different reasons, it plays an important role in body structures. So remember that when an embryo first begins to form, it just has little buds kind of for hands and feet. And then those begin to appear more webbed. And in something like a duck, it would go on to stay webbed, or an otter or a duck-billed platypus or something like that. And they all have webbed feet. And so that webbing, there will be no apoptosis programming the destruction of the tissue between the digits. In the case where apoptosis occurred incorrectly, like what we're seeing in this image, so there should have been programmed cell death between all the digits, but apoptosis failed between 2 of these digits, resulting in these toes being connected. Let's distinguish quickly between apoptosis and necrosis. Necrosis is when a cell dies because it has been accidentally injured or damaged in some way. So that's what an accidental cell death. Apoptosis is very different because it is programmed. It is supposed to happen under certain conditions, whether to control the cell cycle or to develop body structures. So what events happen in a cell undergoing apoptosis? We looked at those. Remember, there's a signal molecule that tells that indicates that that cell is programmed to die. The executioner proteins are going to break down the cell into fragments, and then immune cells will use endocytosis to consume those cell fragments. So in this video, we defined apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. We distinguished between apoptosis from necrosis. One is accidental, one is programmed. We described the two main functions of apoptosis, controlling the cell cycle and ensuring that body structures are able to be formed by programming the death of the tissues in areas where they're not needed to distinguish anatomical features. And compare and contrast cell death in plants and animals. I forgot to do this. So in animal cells, we've seen that cycle. It's a little bit different in plants. So plants actually have enzymes within their vacuole that when the vacuole bursts, those enzymes escape inside the cell and they basically consume it from the inside, eat that cell. And that's important to plants because it helps them to kill cells that may be in fact infected with bacteria or fungi. So a little bit different, but it's still programmed cell death.